in that process where I was like going through kind of starting to realize what was going on with me, I decided to be vulnerable about it. In the second half of life, you realize it's time to be me. It's an initiation. It's a portal that you are being called to and invited to. I don't profess to be a guru or anything like that. No. What I have is I've lived this experience.
Yeah.
And I believe my gift that I can offer men is to simply remind them who they are.
Free to be me, free to sing, sweet feathers envelop me like a hug.
The Safe to Be Seen podcast is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Darcy and Brandon Burke do not claim to be experts. We have no intention to defend our beliefs or impose them onto others. This podcast provides a space to allow for us to share with others what it's like to be us. We desire to share our human journey with others. We advise you to seek professional counsel, therapy, and/or treatment from trained, credentialed, and certified professionals for any emotional, mental, and/or physical conditions you may be experiencing. You love each other, but do you truly see each other? Love is just the beginning. To create deep connection and sacred intimacy, you need more. Truth, presence, the courage to feel. More Than Love is a coaching program for couples ready to move beyond routine, mediocrity, and autopilot and into sacred soul-deep union. Because love isn't lost, it's waiting beneath the noise. Are you ready to reconnect? Send a DM to our Instagram at Safe to Be Seen or click the link in the show notes. Let's bring your relationship back to life.
Today we get to have a really exciting, fun, informative conversation about midlife, the midlife crisis that it's been labeled for so long, and talk about, mainly going to be me interviewing my husband, Brandon Burke, about his process going through a midlife transition and how he has developed a system to be able to help men realize that the second half of their life should be the best part of their life, actually. But first, we celebrated our 25th year wedding anniversary recently.
Yeah.
Congrats to us.
Yes.
Do you want to tell everyone all the reasons why you love me?
Of course. My goodness. But that would take up like more than the, roughly hour that we have, set aside for this podcast episode. So
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Okay. We can do that another episode.
But I love you, babe. Happy 25th.
I love you, babe.
Yeah, it was fun celebrating with you.
Yeah, we celebrated us, didn't we? We celebrated hard and fun. Yeah. We had a great time, and I'm so grateful for our journey and our love that we share.
Yeah, me too, babe. So, Brand, you have been actually coaching men for quite some time now. You've run a men's group. You've been helping men kind of meet that wall, that resistance that they meet usually in midlife. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that, how you got started, what you've already been working on?
Yeah. So I facilitate a men's group of approximately 20 men, local here to Southern Utah. We meet in person at least once a month, often months more than that, sometimes twice a month, where we do various things that help us to connect to self and to each other, to practice vulnerability, to learn from each other, to discover hidden truths held deep within ourselves, hidden gifts. So sometimes we will do what I call a fire circle, where we get together around a fire at night, and for an hour and a half or 2 hours, we talk about whatever's on our heart. Whoever is feeling the desire to be vulnerable, each man who shares might spend, anywhere from 8 to 12 minutes talking about whatever's on his heart. We also come to those fire circles with intention and, preceded by perhaps some reading material or maybe a podcast that I recommend that the men listen to. And then we just get together and talk. We do some grounding exercises, very, very simple tools we may do at the beginning of the fire circle to help us to be grounded and present, open up our hearts, kind of get out of our head and get into our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
We do drum circles, which are super fun, where, we get together and just jam, make some music, connect to the music, connect to our hearts through the music, connect to each other through the rhythm and the beat of the drum. And we do fun, adventurous activities as well. Hikes. We'll get together and go to breakfast. Maybe go to the lake. But we just, the goal is to create community, to create connection, to create opportunities to really ultimately see others and to be seen. To witness and to be witnessed is what is really a necessary part of the healing equation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been awesome. Also, I've been coaching men, just guiding them through their midlife transitions, whether it be a faith crisis or health problems, relationship problems, burnout in their career. It's been really, really rewarding and beautiful. There aren't many things that compare to witnessing a man come home to himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And remember who he is and reclaim his power.
Mm-hmm. You've done such a great job, and I think it's so needed. I think women are really good about gathering.
Yeah.
And being intentional about that and getting together. And I don't know, I guess maybe because I'm not a man, but it doesn't seem like it's a very common thing for men to do, to gather in community, to be vulnerable with each other, to help each other out. So it's so needed, and really proud of you for doing that. It's been really fun to watch you lead in that way, and to share your gifts and your heart with men who need it. Share your medicine. And today we get to talk about the medicine that you get to offer others. But first, you had to embody that medicine first before you could give it to others. And so your offering is from a very deep place of understanding within yourself, because you lived it and have experience with it. We'll get to talk about today. So, so many men, like both men and women, but today we're talking primarily about men. But so many men hit midlife and think, is this it? Like, I feel like shit. I'm not super happy in my career. I don't have very much energy. I think as a culture, we've just learned to accept that and just think, well, I guess that's the way it is. Is that how you view it?
Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
However, I did. I experienced that the despair, the feeling like the world is falling apart. There's good reason that they call it a crisis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's terrifying. But I no longer view it that way. I now view it and believe it to be a sacred opportunity, a beautiful blessing, a calling, if you will, an invitation to, I view it as a portal, a door, a portal to walk through, to leave behind everything that you are not, and to come home to your true self.
Mm.
And it's very, very painful and difficult, but it is so beautiful, and it is sacred.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the amount of resistance that you feel in anything is always equal to the amount of expansion that is available to you on the other side of that. And I think a lot of people hit midlife and they experience this resistance and they don't meet it. They try to just play small, keep going in the same patterns,
Yeah.
doing the same thing because they think, I guess this is it. Like, I guess this is life, you know?
Yeah. That's true, for sure. That's so beautifully said, Darcy. The amount of resistance is proportional to the amount of expansion possible on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
However, you know what's interesting, I learned through my experience is that I think also the amount of pain and suffering and resistance that you experience in this time of life is also related to proportionally the expectations that you carried about what your life would look like,
Mm-hmm.
about, you know, you can start with the magical thinking of a child, which around the onset of puberty, 10 to 14 years of age, kind of transitions into more of a heroic thinking of a teenager and young adult. And then that transitions into when you get to midlife, like a realistic type of thinking. And it's kind of like you come to this realization that like you're not going to you start going through all these experiences related to how you feel in your body, how you react emotionally, how your relationships look, and a lot of that is very, very different from how you imagined that it would be.
Yeah.
So it's just extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So
It's meant to be, because it's meant to push you
Yeah.
into something bigger and better.
exactly.
So how did your own journey lead you to want to support men
Mm-hmm.
through this phase of life?
Yeah, I mean, we've discussed on previous episodes a little bit about my journey in more detail, but I think that in this episode, what I would like to say in that regard, like, how did I get to where I wanted to create men's groups, devote time and energy to helping men come home to themselves, heal themselves, find themselves. It's and it really has a lot to do with in the point in my journey when I was kind of coming to these realizations. I was gaining this awareness. I was so uncomfortable. All this stuff that we've been talking about, this transition, this evolution, this, we've talked about it before also, but like this, like a caterpillar, like going into that cocoon, and it's like dark and cold and scary, and the caterpillar doesn't really know what's going on. It just knows that like it has to do this, and it's really uncomfortable. It doesn't really maybe know that like on the other end of that there are wings, and there's flight, and there's freedom. But in that process where I was like going through kind of starting to realize what was going on with me, I decided to be vulnerable about it. I had never been vulnerable. Vulnerability was and is for most men one of the scariest things. And we like to just keep things inside, appear to be strong, and avoid anything that would give the impression that we're weak, which is often, unfortunately, feeling our feelings, expressing our feelings, expressing our deep inner truth. That's often, unfortunately, viewed in our society culture as weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And so vulnerability was very foreign to me. And I just decided to start talking. It kind of started with a podcast. I was invited to be on a podcast, talk about my story. I talked about how I had been, been experiencing a lot of depression.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so liberating to kind of just tell my truth in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it also catapulted me into this new world that I didn't know about because of my conditioning and my my wounding and my guard around my heart, my protective patterns that were at that time unconscious,
Mm-hmm.
my survival mechanisms that at that time I wasn't fully aware of, but that I started to, through that vulnerability, I started to deeply connect with other men. Men started reaching out after they heard my podcast. They wanted to know more about my story. They expressed that they felt similar, that they had very, very similar feelings of inadequacy, depression, anxiety, not being enough, troubles in their relationships, doubts about their faith, all these different things that we all were like experiencing,
Mm-hmm.
but no one dared to say it.
Mm.
And when we dared to say it, we created bonds. Our hearts connected. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I just realized that that's what we need as human beings. And especially, in my world, my life experience as a man, that's what we need.
Mm-hmm.
We need connection.
Mm-hmm.
And connection requires vulnerability. So that's how I got started.
Yeah.
I started connecting to these men, and it just, led to the work that I do in coaching men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So great. Why do you think that midlife is so misunderstood? That midlife crisis, you like to call it now the midlife portal.
Yeah.
Why has that been so misunderstood in our culture for so long?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that it has a lot to do with the societal and cultural roles that are given to men and women, of course. But in this case, we're talking about the work that I do with men. And I think that we grab on so tightly to this role given us of big, strong, tough, don't show emotion, don't show weakness, show that you are in control. And that's part of it. The other part, though, it's helpful. It was helpful for me to understand, like, why does this just like blindside so many people? Why did it blindside me in such a painful way?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's helpful to understand that a little bit of the history, and that is that anthropologists have estimated that about up to at least 40,000 years ago, indigenous cultures, more primitive tribal cultures, they had this whole very organized and structured ritualistic rite of passage that occurred to clearly delineate boyhood from manhood. At the onset of puberty, boys would be sometimes in the middle of the night taken from their beds or however they slept at that time, and they would be, there was some form of separation of the boy from the mother and the community, the tribe, whatever the situation was. And then there was some sort of symbolic death. Now that varies greatly depending on the culture and the area, the tribe, but some form of ritualistic symbolic death. Then there was some form of ritualistic symbolic rebirth. And then the elders, the elder men in that tribe or that culture would provide teachings, would teach after that rebirth, teach that boy turning into a man, would teach him the way. And then there was the return back to the community as a man. And oftentimes this would be illustrated by actually a visual change in appearance, scarification, tattooing, modifications to the body in some way, perhaps just via the way they were dressed. But they looked different. And oftentimes they would be given a new name. Like they were literally, the boy was dying and the man was being born. And, you know, that happened for various reasons, but not the least of which was to teach that boy what it means to be a man. It's not about ego or power or control or force or anger. It's not about having big, strong muscles, although that doesn't hurt. But it's not about any of that. It's about love, compassion, leadership, heart. And so about 200 years ago, when, due to industrialization, colonization, drastic changes in our school systems, that for the most part, in most areas of the world, that ritualistic rite of passage from boyhood to manhood ceased. Now, it still exists in some areas of the world today. In some tribes and some, indigenous cultures, they still do something like that for the boys. But for the most part, in like industrialized cultures, it doesn't exist anymore. And so what's interesting is that now it's believed that men unconsciously, with a thirst and a strong desire for that initiatory process into manhood, unconsciously seek it in addiction to harmful substances, in addiction to achievement, in war, incarceration. In other words, it's almost as if unconsciously men induce pain and suffering on themselves. And a lot of times it results in this midlife collapse, this midlife crisis that we call it, where it's really just an unconscious attempt for this person that's walking around in a grown man's body, but is actually still a little boy.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Is what I'm hearing you saying is that these indigenous tribes would basically help initiate boys into men maintaining their authenticity and maintaining their truth and maintaining their heart, and not looking for external approval, not trying to gain success or power in harmful ways. They were keeping them connected to their heart.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That process made it so that when they returned back to the tribe, back to the village, back to the community, whatever that looked like, as a man, they did so after having symbolically, after the boy died and the man was reborn. And in doing that, having been taught by the elders what it meant to be a man. And you're right, it was all about authenticity, connection, love, leadership. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Why do you think the strategies that have been taught, that have been passed down in order for men to achieve success in the first half of life aren't working out so well for them in the second half of their life?
Yeah. Good question. Yeah, I think also there's a little bit of, it helps to understand a little bit of history here. So the reason there's a midlife crisis now, like I said, it roughly 200 years ago is when, with industrialization, colonization, and changes in the school systems, caused the cessation of those more primitive, tribal type of rituals, rites of passages. But also, if you think back, it wasn't all that long ago that the life expectancy of a human being was about half of what it is right now.
Wow.
And so it's really fascinating to think, oh, so there really couldn't be a midlife crisis when you only were expected to live till you were about 45 or 50 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now that our life expectancy is around 80 years old, the life expectancy has doubled. And so that's part of it. There's actually, you have a really, really good chance of living to an old age. And so you're going to go through some transitions, in that middle part of your life. But the other thing that's really interesting is that it used to be that not only was your life expectancy so much less, but it used to be that there was so much control over people by institutions, governmental, societal, and religious. So much tight control, dictating how people lived, making them believe a certain way. And now that's not so much the case anymore. Like people are starting to, like there's much, much less adherence, blind following of these institutions in today's world. And so those two things are I see as part of it's really helpful to understand those two things when you think about your question of, why is it that strategies that maybe worked for the first half of your life don't work anymore. It's like laying the foundation for those two truths helped me. But then I think, Darcy, it's really, for me, it was understanding that the first half of life is really all about it. I view it as like building this container. And then like, okay, so what does that mean? That for me, that means like understanding boundaries, understanding limits, understanding kind of how the world works, certain rules that just exist in the world, how to act when you're out in public, things like that. Like how to be a rule follower,
how to fit in the box,
how to fit, how to belong, how to be acceptable in this world. That's what the first half of life is for. Also, it's when in the first half of life is when your ego is formed, and so there's a very, very, for me, my belief is that it's all by divine design. Like I do believe that, like, and that's why I call my coaching program Getting Lost is Being Found, because I believe that part of the plan is getting lost. Because only then, by being lost, can you be found, truly found. So it's in the second half of life, though, when that container that we talked about that you've built in the first half of life, that's when you get to decide, what do I want to fill this thing with? What are the most important things that I want to go into that container? It's for understanding that, oh, wait a minute. I'm not my ego, because my ego was created in the first half of life, which was based upon everything that I thought identified me as me. My race, my gender, my religion, my societal pressures and cultural pressures, everything that I was domesticated with, I was told to be, or I maybe not even told, but I just felt and without words understood that, oh, I see, I need to be a certain way to get your love. All of that in the second half of life that was created in the first half of life and built this container, built this ego in the second half of life, you realize it's time to be me.
Yeah. An initiation.
It's an initiation.
Yeah.
It's a portal that you are being called to and invited to walk through and be you.
Yeah.
Be who you were always meant to be.
Yeah, so powerful. And it's so exciting when you can look at it that way. It comes with some grief of realizing probably that for men going through this, that their first half of their life has been based upon performance and survival, and that any success that they have earned or gained was based upon survival strategies. And, you spoke to like the conditioning, your ego is just there to protect you. It's a protective mechanism. It serves a purpose. And, through a nervous system lens, what I see happening is that as you're growing up, you have these vulnerable parts that get wounded and that get hurt. For example, let's say your parents only paid attention to you or only gave you love or affection or gifts if you showed up in a way that made them happy. Like, so let's say your dad was really into sports and he wanted you to be an athlete so bad. And you saw that when you performed well in athletics, that you got your dad's attention. He would buy you something. He would praise you. So what your brilliant adaptive nervous system did at that age was go, oh, that's how I maintain connection. That's how I maintain love. That's how I maintain belonging.
Yeah.
So it adapts. And that's where personality traits come into play. Perfectionism, performance, overachieving,
People pleasing. And it's very common in men for that to come out as overachieving, which leads to burnout. Yeah.
Because you had to learn to adapt in order to survive. That doesn't just end as you leave the home and go on with the rest of your life. It stays with you, and it is projected out in so many unhealthy ways. And that can be said in so many ways. It could be done with, oh, I only got attention from my parents. I only got praise from my parents if I got these certain grades, or if I played this musical instrument, or if, it's your parents basically projecting their own wounds on their child unconsciously. But it causes kids to have to adapt and go into performance level.
Yeah. And
they lose so much touch with their authentic selves. And it's making the world sick.
Yeah.
It's causing men, this discussion we're talking about men. In this episode, we're talking about men. So it's causing men to have so many illnesses, heart attacks at a young age. And I know there's a lot of things that go into that, health and diet and toxins in the environment, but a lot of it is a nervous system so fried and burnt out from trying to perform, to gain love, to gain acceptance, that it gets to a point where your body's like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Your state creates your story, and nothing will change until you rewrite the script and elevate the somatic script so your body can finally call in what's meant for you. In Holos, we identify your blocks and rewrite the somatic story because patterns live in the body. We install new beliefs so they're anchored, embody new truth, rewrite the subconscious, and shift you from fear and lack into expansion and abundance in service to the divine feminine. Holos is where you rewrite your feminine story. It's where you anchor the freshest upgrade, the state your next chapter requires, and live from it every single day. If you're ready to stop trying to change your life from the surface and instead shift the body that creates it, apply now at www.holoshealing.info and step into the container that changes everything. So what were some of your symptoms that you noticed in midlife that you were like, okay, something's got to change here because I can't live like this anymore?
Yeah. Well, I first want to say, Darce, this is one of the most important things that a man in midlife has to realize. This question you asked a few minutes ago of, why is it that what was working for you before is no longer working for you anymore?
Mm-hmm.
And I view it, Darcy, as like this. If you think about underneath the Earth's surface, when you feel a little tremor, and it's registered, measured by seismologists as like a little tremor, maybe you didn't even feel it, but they picked it up. Their machines picked it up, sensed it, recorded it, and maybe blasted it out on the news or whatever. And you're like, that's weird. I didn't really even feel that. But those tremors, it's not always that necessarily, I guess, the tremors lead to a huge catastrophic earthquake. But I view it as, and I'm no geologist, by the way, this is just how I view it. I view it as when there is a big catastrophic earthquake that causes destruction and damage. It seems to me like there were probably some warning signs before. Little tiny tremors that were picked up on these machines and sensed and recorded. And so that's how I view, like, my experience was like before I fell into like this deep, dark place where it seemed like my world was falling apart. Now I'm able to look back and be like, oh yeah, you were, some of my symptoms, these little tremors that preceded my big earthquake were losing interest in things that I used to love. Occupying myself, keeping busy. And that's not the same as being productive, by the way. Being productive and being busy, those are not the same. And a lot of times I think I was just keeping myself busy. I tried, I feel like I spent a lot of really good quality time with you guys, with you and the kids, but I wasn't very present, unfortunately. Like I have to accept that. I was so focused on my work. I was so focused on being a great provider and being a successful person, being successful in my work, in my business, and which is fine, but it was for all the wrong reasons. So I would say some of my symptoms that I was unaware of, these little tremors, were I had a very difficult time, if ever, being present. I was so in my head that I was either sad or regretful or depressed about the past or anxious about the future. I lost interest in things that used to interest me. I got consumed by my work. I kind of got bored with certain things, and boredom, all these little things led up to me realizing, holy cow, I'm like depressed.
Yeah. Being so disconnected from.
I'm so disconnected and lost. And like, it was hard. But you know what's awesome, Darce, is that, and this is what I want, I just can't emphasize enough. The reason that I want to coach men, the reason is this. We touched on it just a little bit ago. But I'm not your healer. I don't have all your answers for you necessarily. But what I can do, what I will do, is I will guide you back to remembering who you are. I will help you heal yourself. I will show you, because maybe you've forgotten, your power again.
Yeah.
And I will help you realize that this pain you're feeling, this agonizing pain, this terror and fear, is a beautiful opportunity. I want to give you a big hug and applaud you and be like, yeah, this is good. This is good. You understand this means the invitation has been given. The portal has been opened. Let's go. And I will grab your hand and I'll walk right beside you through that portal, through the fire that burns away everything that is not you. I'll be right there with you. That's what I wish I would have had.
Yeah.
You know,
could
and
have
so I
used
want to.
you. You needed you.
Yeah.
At that time.
But that's what I want to do. I want to. I don't profess to be a guru or anything like that. No. What I have is I've lived this experience.
Yeah.
And I believe my gift that I can offer men is to simply remind them who they are and help them remember and hold their hand through the fire and just be there with them to guide them back home to themselves. Because I want to be able to help them realize that this pain, these symptoms, let's call them, it could be anything. It could be anxiety, depression, addiction. Maybe your marriage is falling apart. Your health is terrible. You're out of shape. You don't look good. You definitely don't feel good. You don't like your job. You're burned out. You're just exhausted. You're just not enjoying life. I am here to show you and help you remember that those symptoms are just pointing you toward the way. And, what if, for example, your anxiety isn't like, it isn't something bad. I know it hurts. I know I felt it. It feels terrible. But what if it's your soul just sick and tired of being locked in a cage? And it's just trying to remind you that you hold the damn key. Open the cage. So
powerfully said, Brand. So powerful and so good, so needed. I think a lot of men strive so hard that first half of life through hustle culture, through overworking, self-abandonment, neglecting their own needs, neglecting their own truths, because like the world's telling me I need to get to this point in order to be deemed worthy, acceptable, to prove myself in the world. And you know what? A lot of men have achieved a lot of success by being that way. Those adaptations developed in the first half of life have served people in ways. They've made a lot of money. They've won awards. They've done amazing things. But what you're trying to say is that you can have success.
Oh, yeah.
You can have money. Yeah. You can have vitality. You can have amazing sex in your second half of life. You can have energy. You can have those things from a place of authenticity and truth and groundedness, and not from survival. Not from performance. Not trying to be somebody that you're not. And I can't think of anything more needed, more wanted, more desired, and more beautiful than to be able to offer that to somebody else.
Yeah, that's so true, Darcy. The question of the first half of life is, what does the world want from me? What does the world want me to give it? What does the world want me to be? What does the world want me to express? The question of the second half of life is, what through me wants to be expressed to the world?
Yeah.
It's a very subtle shift of wording, but if you pay close attention, it's a drastic shift in mindset. And that's what this work is all about.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your coaching program.
Yeah.
Like, just briefly describe for us the process that you have developed, the program that you have developed to guide people through this initiation as you are being their tribal leader, their tribal leader, their elder, so to speak, in a way.
Yeah.
Of returning them, helping them realize this and come to this, returning back to their real power within themselves.
Yeah. So my coaching program is a one-to-one, me and you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a group. Now we do have the if you're interested in and you're local to Southern Utah, the group type stuff, we do have the men's group, like I described before. But my coaching program is one-to-one, 4 months. And what we do is we focus on reconnecting to the body, restoring your energy, your physical strength, your vitality, rewiring old patterns that just no longer serve you, helping you become aware of them. That's the first step. Becoming aware of what patterns are toxic in your life? What patterns are holding you back?
Mm-hmm.
What are your false limiting beliefs? What are the parts of your inner child that we need to look at healing? The parts work that you are an expert in that we have touched on in previous episodes. And then we reclaim. We reclaim your power. We realign you with your purpose, your greatest life's mission. And that's what my coaching program is in a nutshell. It's reconnecting to the body means, Darcy, I learned on my journey so thankfully to you, and you having, I don't believe by coincidence, like as I was going through all this stuff, you become a certified nervous system specialist and somatic practitioner, and just opened up our world to this incredible medicine of healing the nervous system and somatic embodiment. And what that means basically is I really started to, I describe it, Darcy, as like, before I was seeing the world in like grays and black and white, and now I see the world in vivid, bright color. Before I was walking around in this body, completely disconnected from it, unable to feel my bodily sensations, unable to feel my emotions and know what they meant. And now, because of the healing of my nervous system that I have gone through with your help and the somatic embodiment, the pleasure I feel. Like, I used to think pleasure was like on rare occasion. Maybe it was sex. Maybe it was doing something, really fantastic that I didn't do very often. No. You know what? Pleasure is always, as long as I am like connected to my body and my nervous system is regulated, and I'm feeling my body, and I'm at home with myself. Like, I can feel pleasure in going outside and looking around. I can feel pleasure in watching a sunrise or a sunset, watching my son play football, my daughter dance, the wind brush across my face, touching leaves on a tree, petting my dog, go on and on and on. Like, it is multiple times a day where I just feel so alive. And so, yeah, we're going to go through, in my coaching program, we are going to, there's going to be work done on renegotiating, how I like to say it is renegotiating your relationship with your nutrition, your movement, like exercise
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. Yes, of course, like stretching, things like that, like things that you think of more like when you think of we're going to work on your body,
Mm-hmm.
but we're going to go deep, and we're going to, with your help, which is what's really beautiful about my coaching package, is I'm partnering up with you. So thank you.
Yeah, 2 for 1.
Yeah. So men who work with me one-to-one in my coaching program, they also get to work with you. And we have sessions designed to help them with somatic embodiment, with nervous system healing and regulation, and really just reconnecting to the body on a deep, deep level.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm excited. It'll be fun.
yeah.
I just want to speak real quickly to a lot of high performers, overachievers. They actually have a really high tolerance for pain.
Yeah.
Meaning they have become so disconnected from their bodily sensations and from their emotions and from their truth that they can take on a lot of pain. They have a high tolerance for it.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the work that we will do with men in your coaching program, is helping them come to the understanding and the truth that they do not have to survive that way in order to get the things that they want out of life. And, you know, I think sometimes men have this false belief that embodiment is just for females. It seems like such a girly thing to do. But guess what, men? Like, you have a body too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're meant to fully live in it and be in it and feel it and use it as your most important tool in life.
Yeah.
To achieve, to get the things that you want, and to experience life's abundance.
Yeah.
Like, your body is the one relationship you will always have your entire life.
Yeah.
And it is your most accessible, beautiful tool
Yeah.
to experience life in. You should be doing everything you can to experience the beauty of being in a body for both men and women.
I think of it as a sacred vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
called a vessel, whatever, but a sacred container for our soul, for our spirit, however you believe, however you look at it, our energy, whatever makes us different than a tree or a dog is housed within this vessel, this vehicle, and it is sacred. And when you go from the mindset, well, first, I mean, there's a spectrum, of course, right? Like sometimes we neglect and even abuse this sacred vehicle so badly. But sometimes we think that we're taking good care of it. We think up here, we think, yeah, I know my body's sacred. You know, I even like when we were in religion, we were taught that.
Yeah.
And we had commandments and laws and rules that tried to teach us to honor our bodies and take care of them. But I'm telling you, like, there's a whole nother level that I want to guide men to where the relationship you have with your body is so sacred and honored and revered that everything you do with it, everything you put into it, it's your spiritual practice. Regulating and healing your nervous system, spiritual practice. Like, it is, you know, Darce, when I started going through this transformation of deeply connecting to my body and starting to really take care of it and honor it through so many different ways that we will get into more detail for those men who work with me one-to-one in my coaching. But it was one thing to like notice with my physical eyes the changes, you know, and how I started being like, oh, wow, you're looking better. You're looking different. You're really leaning up. You're really trimming up. You're really like I started noticing physical changes in my body.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. But more than that, it was how I felt.
Mm.
I started feeling, like I said, so alive in this incredible vessel that holds my energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, like, we would be, at different functions here and there where maybe I would pass on food or whatever that I didn't feel like, I don't want that. It's not good for me, type of thing. And don't get me wrong, I do indulge in some of my favorite foods on occasion. But my point is, when I would be asked in kind of more of a social setting, what, you're not going to have that cake? It's so good. You should just try one piece.
Usually by me.
Yes.
What? You're not going to the gas station tonight to get Cinnabars and chocolate almonds?
Yeah, we do
Why?
that sometimes still on special occasions. But, okay, so my reply has always been, no, thank you. I'm good. But in my head, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying, if you had any idea how good I feel,
Mm-hmm.
you would never be tempted by that piece of cake. You would never dream of like throwing away how good you feel for that.
Yeah.
And it's this complete mindset shift, this embodiment of peace and freedom and power,
Mm-hmm.
and really like ecstasy. Like, when I go to the gym in the morning, a lot of times I'm like dancing around and like,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like, I know people are like, what the hell is wrong with that guy? But I just feel so good.
Yeah.
It's a way for me to like honor my body.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's a beautiful thing. And then what I was going to say next, so it's noticing the look, like physically. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. You're looking a lot better than you did.
Mm-hmm.
a couple years ago. And then it's feeling, oh my gosh, I feel so good.
Mm-hmm.
I have so much energy. Like I just feel amazing. But then the third thing is, I started, and you've been there on occasion, and this is not me like tooting my own horn or whatever, but I've been in settings where people will come up to me and say, I just got to tell you, like, your energy is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? What do you do to like, and I'll be like, I mean, that's a long story. I'll have to get into it if you have time.
You want to sign up for my coaching package?
Yeah, exactly. Sign up for my coaching package and I'll show you all about it. But no, it's like, it's what I think, to your point, Darce, is that nervous system healing and deep somatic embodiment,
Mm-hmm.
boiled down to, in simple terms, deep connection to your body,
Mm-hmm.
results in this energy. It's an energy that you emit. It's a literal energy that you emit that is felt by others.
Mm-hmm. It's a life force.
It's a life force.
It's because you're living in alignment with your truth and you are vibrating at the level of authenticity,
Yeah.
which is the highest vibration you can ever achieve in this world. And then
Yeah.
life just happens for you.
It does. It just comes to you.
It just
You
comes to
attract.
you don't have to force.
You
and
attract
chase.
abundance. You attract love,
Mm-hmm.
connection, even wealth. To your point earlier, please don't misunderstand. I'm not saying in any way that if you're a high achieving middle-aged man, you got it all wrong. You need to sit on your yoga mat a little more or like meditate for hours a day. No. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm saying you can have it all.
Yeah.
When you get aligned with your higher purpose through deep inner work, somatic embodiment, nervous system healing, deep connection to your body, you're magnetic.
Mm-hmm.
You attract what is already there for you.
Yeah.
And that can look like all sorts of things.
Yeah.
The perfect job that you don't know maybe what it is, but it's like, it's out there. It's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Your dharma, your purpose, your mission, your person.
Mm-hmm.
It's all out there just waiting for you to be in alignment
Yeah.
with yourself.
Yeah, it exists. It
Yeah.
already exists. It's already been created. You just
Yeah.
have to be the co-creator with it to make it
Yeah.
happen. Okay, so real quick, Brand, run out of time, but do you went over all 4 of your pillars?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The pillars of my package are reconnect
Okay.
to the body, then restore
Okay.
vitality and energy and physical strength, then rewire old patterns that no
Mhm.
longer work for you,
Mm-hmm.
then return
Awesome.
home, realign with your purpose and your greatest life's mission.
Awesome. Whoever gets to work with you is so lucky, because one thing you are not a quitter.
That's
And
for sure.
You will not let your people quit.
Yeah.
You will hold their hand through every step of the way.
Well, Darcy, I will tell every single man that commits to working with me
Mm-hmm.
that, are you ready? I will hold you accountable.
Mm-hmm.
I will hold your feet to the fire. There will be times you want to quit. There will be times the pain is just too much. It's too uncomfortable. I'm not going to let you.
Yeah.
I will not only hold your feet to the fire, but I will hold your hand and we will walk through the fire together.
Yeah. Well, you do such a good job. I'm so excited for you. You've already helped so many people. And man, watching you in your journey, Brand, has been so incredible. And we do, we get people coming up to us all the time asking you, like, what has changed about you? And it's not even just like the physical. I mean, the physical was an amazing, like, damn. But your physical is just a reflection of your inner.
Yeah.
And it has to start with the inside.
Yeah.
And then the outside comes from that.
Yeah.
But it's your light, it's your countenance, it's your vitality, it's your dancing at the gym and not caring who sees you, when before you would have never done that.
No.
There's so many things now that I'm like, it's been so fun, like, man, seeing you for who you really are, your truth and your authenticity. And we've experienced that with both of us.
Yeah.
This process of evolvement with each other has been scary at times.
Yeah.
And it's only scary because it's unknown.
Mm-hmm.
That resistance, men, that you feel in your body, when you feel resistance, that's not because you don't have enough drive. It's not because you don't have like the will. That's just your nervous system saying whatever is unfamiliar is unsafe. So we're going to keep you back here to keep you safe. Okay. So just recognize that that resistance is there because it's not familiar. And your nervous system is just always trying to keep you safe. It's its number one job.
Protect you.
And to protect you. Yeah. But on the other side of that resistance, if you could just, through parts work and all the things that we talk about that will be included in your package, heal that part of you that is scared, and you meet that edge and you overcome that resistance. Oh my gosh. On the other side of that is so much expansion.
You are unstoppable.
You're unstoppable. Yeah.
When a man steps into his power
Mm-hmm.
and comes home to himself and remembers, I like to say remembers because I believe we're always whole.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we're not broken. We just forget. We just forget all too easily.
Mm-hmm.
But when we remember who we are, we step into our power and we thrive.
Oh.
We're unstoppable.
Hell yeah.
And, Darce, healing the nervous system for a man, especially because you spoke to how, a lot of times it's viewed as like, oh, that's kind of more for women. I'll send my wife off to do that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When a man heals his nervous system, it might actually be the most masculine thing he could do.
Yeah.
Because he is then able to step into being the kind of father he should be. He doesn't even need words. Once again, this is an energy exchange that his kids will feel and be like, I want to be like that guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You will step into your power as the type of man that your woman deserves.
Mm.
You will be at the workplace the type of man that your employees, clients, customers, patients deserve. And it's just a really beautiful thing to experience.
Yeah.
And, once again, I just want to emphasize that, like, for men, because it's so, men were just so driven by like this role dominant perspective of like, I got to be tough. I got to be strong. I got to look, you're not going to mess with me. I got these big muscles. I got this big truck, this fast car, this big house, all this money in my bank.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? The strongest man in a room has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with what is the state of his nervous system?
Amen.
What is the energy that man is emitting?
Mm-hmm.
Is he able to stay calm in the midst of chaos and storm? Has he done the deep, deep inner work that has made it so he can look himself in the eyes and anyone else in the eyes and know who he is?
Mm-hmm.
That's the strongest man in a room.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amen to that. So, babe, how can people get a hold of you to work with you?
Yeah. So just send me a DM. Go to my Instagram account, Getting Lost is Being Found.
Mm-hmm.
Send me a DM, and then we'll exchange some information. We'll ensure that we're a good fit for each other. And then get ready to enter the portal.
Yeah.
Get ready to transform your life and start living.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So excited for you. So excited for the men that are going to be able to work with you.
Thank you.
It's going to be really transformational.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Love you, babe.
I
I'm
love
so proud
too.
of you.
Thank you.
Free to be me, free to sing, sweet feathers envelop me like a hug, whispering melody.
You've played the part, fulfilled your role, built the business, carried the weight. But lately, something's off. The success you've created on the outside doesn't match how you feel on the inside. You're burnt out, disconnected, numb. This isn't weakness, it's a signal. It's not a crisis, it's a sacred opportunity. Getting Lost is Being Found is a coaching program where high-performing men rebuild from the inside out. Strength in your body, clarity in your mind, fire in your soul. Go to my Instagram at Getting Lost is Being Found and shoot me a DM or click the link in the show notes if you're ready to transform yourself into the man you were meant to be. You're not broken. You're being called back to who you really are. The Safe to Be Seen podcast is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Darcy and Brandon Burke do not claim to be experts. We have no intention to defend our beliefs or impose them onto others. This podcast provides a space to allow for us to share with others what it's like to be us. We desire to share our human journey with others. We advise you to seek professional counsel, therapy, and/or treatment from trained, credentialed, and certified professionals for any emotional, mental, and/or physical conditions you may be experiencing.